Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, California Weather Watch. Today is April 7th, and right now we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You see Washington, Oregon, and California here. There goes that system dropping some light precipitation mainly across areas of central northern California. We'll take a look at the potential warm up here coming. Then we've got a cold upper level trough coming on through next week, and then with the potential for warm up after that. But that's way off in fantasy land, but we will take a look at some of those details here coming up in a moment. This is looking at National Weather Service Bay Area. You can see generally light precipitation amounts, heavier, of course, the further you get north out of the Bay Area. Now, looking at this, the spring runoff here, this is National Weather Service Las Vegas, but they do talk about some of the amount of snowfall across some of the eastern Sierras and generally across much of the higher terrain of the west. So we're going to start to deal with this runoff here coming. And of course, everybody's eyes are on the Sierra Nevada where there's huge amounts of water stored up there. So we're just going to cross our fingers that we don't warm up too much. This is the science of river flooding here. And here they talk about it. The historic snowpack over the eastern Sierra will begin to melt, and all that water has to go somewhere. And then, of course, you have to go through the dry creeks, the culverts washes on its way to the Owens River. And this is going to be the case for areas west of the Sierra Nevada as well, Lake Tulare, for example. Now, this is the flood watch across some of Nevada, talking about it here as well. Just an impressive snowpack generally across some of the higher terrain here. So you're going to see these warnings and advisories across the areas here as we go on in through the next few weeks. This is the warming trend coming through this weekend. Nice graphic here from the National Weather Service Sacramento. You can see some of these warmer temperatures coming our way here. And this is National Weather Service Hanford. And look at this, some of the 80s showing up here across some of the valley areas here. And this will start to melt some of that snowpack across the higher terrain, but we do have a cooler trough coming on after that. We'll look at that coming up here, and this kind of hints at it here, the cooling trend that begins Tuesday and Wednesday as temperatures start to drop back down a bit here across a lot of the area. Now, this is what's going on up towards 18,000 feet in the upper levels of the atmosphere. There goes the system we just dealt with. Then we're going to get this warm up here as an atmospheric river impacts the Pacific Northwest. Then this cold trough is going to dive down across the state. It's going to be fairly moisture starved here, but it will bring some gusty winds with it and some higher elevation snowfall with it as well as we go through the mid portion of the upcoming week. This is looking at 100-meter wind speeds here. Frontal system we just dealt with. Now watch as we speed ahead here, and you can see this trough start to drive down over the area here. And these winds pick up, especially across the higher terrain and the coastal regions here by the time we get in towards Wednesday. But again, this is going to be kind of a moisture-starved system, just some cold air aloft dropping down over the region here. But it will keep things fairly cool across a lot of mountain areas and reduce some of that snow melt we're going to and we could potentially be getting at this time of year. Right now, we're looking at the total snow 10-to-1 ratio. This is yesterday afternoon's European run. There's that system moving through, just finishing up some snowfall across some of the higher terrain. But then as we go through next week, you can set up our little trough, come down across the area, and could bring some snowfall, a few inches, all the way down to some of the Southern California mountains here as well. And this would be on in towards next weekend shown there. Here we go. We're looking at 850 millibars somewhere up towards 5,000 feet, put it into motion, and you can see the potential warm-up coming here as we have this atmospheric river into the Pacific Northwest. Then the upper level trough brings some chillier air down across the region here. Then the question is, what happens after that? Some of the models have been showing kind of a warm-up here, as you can see, some ridging going on across a lot of the west coast of North America here. So will this be the warm-up that we're all dreading here on through the extended? We don't know quite yet. This is still about 10 days out, but this is what we are watching on through the extended. We'll continue to watch this over the next few days. This is looking at the same version, but the GFS, or the same map, the GFS. Good agreement on the warm-up coming here through this weekend, and then the cool down as we go on in through next week, showing up there on through the GFS extended forecast. You can see potential warm-up as you go on in through the following weekend into the early portions of the week after there. So yeah, it's something to watch for now. So we're kind of looking out in tea leaves at this point, but we're getting into mid-April here. The potential for a warm-up starts to become more and more dramatic as we go through April in towards May. This is looking at the cross-section. This is Truckee Tahoe Airport here, and you can see that upper-level trough driving down over the area here, and then the potential warm-up here as we go on into the following weekend here. But you can see the bump here as we go through later this weekend into early this week as well. I always like showing these cross sections here. This is Mammoth Yosemite Airport. You can see the warm up, then the trough, and then the potential bounce back here as we go through the following weekend. And you can see this is up towards 7,000 feet. This white line shows about where the freezing level would be. So you can see we're going to spend some time below freezing here. And it doesn't look like too dramatic of a warm up right now in this cross section, for example, but it's something we need to watch. That can change rapidly. This is looking at Big Bear all the way down towards Southern California. You see the warm up occurring here, cold upper level trough. And then again, with the potential for some warming here, this would be about 6,700 feet shown. This is looking at Redding Municipal Airport. You can see we're down into some lower elevations here, about 500 feet or so, and you can see the afternoon highs going on there. Then that cold upper level trough showing here, and the potential bounce back as we go on into the following weekend. This is looking at Mammoth Yosemite Airport. This is the daily, the 2-meter temperature. So you're going to see the daily highs and the lows here as we go. That cold trough can be seen here, and what lies in the extended is going to be kind of what we're looking at as far as snow melt across the Sierra Nevada is concerned. So we'll watch that over the next few days, as I said prior. This is looking at the Southern Sierra here, over 300% normal snowfall, snow water equivalent across a lot of the terrain here, 242% across the central, and about 200% or about that for the Northern Sierra there. And you can see we're about 61.7, 95 stations reporting, so we have not started the big melt just yet. And I think I mispronounced that yesterday. That's pronounced Tulare. And you can see where that is here across Central California. And this lake bed is trying to come back to life. It actually is already, causing some flooding issues across the region there. And with so much water equivalent across the higher terrain there, it's probably just going to get worse. And, this really depends on just how fast we melt that snowpack across the higher terrain. This is looking at the reservoir conditions. Every place doing pretty well here. Shasta even up again another percent on its total reservoir capacity. And if you guys want a nice handheld weather station here, check this out. It hooks up wirelessly to your smartphone. It does temperature, dew point, humidity, wind speed. Nice little system there. And this is the affordable home weather station I've been talking about for the last few weeks. Click on the link below if you want to save 10% on that. But anyway, yeah, we got a bit of a warm-up coming here, then a cool down, and then all eyes are going to be on what comes after that, because we start getting into mid-April here, and you guys know how fast things can warm up across the state of California, and we could have some interesting times coming as far as flooding concerns go with all that water stored up across the mountains. So anyway, we'll just continue to watch this day by day. Not much we can do but wait and see what Mother Nature brings us here, but we'll try to best prepare for what's coming. So anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. Click like and subscribe. We'll talk again tomorrow, and I'll see you then.